Welcome back to another Xtreme Stories video, and we're back once again with another awesome and amazing story from this awesome and amazing channel. And today we bring to you another video. Today's story is based on toxicity. Toxicity, one of the most dangerous things known to society. Up until a couple years ago, I had no idea what the heck toxicity was. But when I finally realized what it was, I knew I had done some things in the past that were in fact toxic. And most of the things that I did back then, I do regret and wish that I never did. Today, I will be going over one of the times that I took my toxicity too far. And this happened during my freshman year of high school, when I had a crush at the time. And let's call her Anna. I met her during cross country the summer before, and I didn't think much of her until I met her in art class. Right then, I started growing a crush on her, and I thought I should ask her out sometime, but the thought didn't come up until near the end of the school year, when I had her in my science class second semester and was talking to her quite a bit. We talked about a lot of awesome stuff and even worked together on the balloon project as well. One night, I wrote her a poem and gave it to her the next day at the bus stop, expecting her to have the same feelings for me back. Unfortunately, it turned out that she wasn't ready for a relationship and only saw me as a friend. That was pretty rough, but I got over it and decided that maybe instead I should just respect her wishes and just get her number to chat with her. This, however, is when the toxicity started with me. It turned out that we had finals the next week, because the next week was our last week of school. So it would be obvious that everyone would be busy, but I still wanted to text her to see how things are going. That weekend, I spammed her a text, expecting to hear back from her. Eventually, she replied saying that she was busy the whole weekend. Of course, she would think that my freshman self would have figured it out. But no, I went even further and began texting her throughout the finals week, until on the last day of school, she replied to me and told me to stop texting her back. At the time, I was devastated and thought that she was going too far by saying that, but now I realized that I should have not pushed things with the texting. Later on in the middle of summer, I apologized to her, and once sophomore year rolled around, I went back to talking with her more. She wasn't too enthusiastic considering the fact that I drove her nuts with the texting, but I chose to ignore and keep talking. That only would add to the fire when I started to become jealous whenever she got close to someone. That year, she was in my biology class, but however, I ended up a table away from her, and my notion at the time was for me to talk to her between our English class and our biology class, which is where we would meet up on the way there. Throughout the semester, I would always get annoyed when she wasn't in the mood to talk and thought she was not listening or just was turned off by the previous incident. By the end of the semester, I had gotten to my breaking point, and I knew that the only way to make her care was to ditch her on the way to biology class. I had even promised her a gift a week earlier, but reconsidered after getting really upset with her. By the next semester, I had severe ties with her, and for 2 years on, I continued to despise her and blame her for the reason why things didn't work out. But however, by my senior year, I realized that I was the one to blame for everything that I did to her. Despising her, treating her like I didn't care for her well-being, and pretty much every crappy thing that I did to her. Eventually, I did run into her again 2 months before we graduated, and I apologized for all the horrible things that I did to her. She accepted the apology real easily, which was pretty surprising. I expected her to just accept it and still not see me as a good person. But soon enough, we were friends again by the last day of school. It was as if a weight was finally lifted off my chest, but I still felt pretty bad for hurting her 2 years back. Still to this day, I wish I could have gone back and never did that to her, and all the other stuff I did, and I should have just have respected her wishes. The big lesson I can take from this is that toxicity at times can feel good in the moment, but can lead you to doing things that you will likely regret. Most of the toxic things I have done were back in high school with people that I knew and envied at the time. I do have a couple more examples, but I will share those in a later video. But the big takeaway though is to not let toxicity rule your life, because you're not only hurting those around you, but you're in fact hurting yourself. And even though I am not as toxic as I used to be, there are still times in which I always think of doing things I regret because someone refused to acknowledge my situation, or I feel like I am not being heard. but in reality it is just an overreaction of the situation in the head that makes things worse. Thank you guys for joining this awesome video, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to always get updated new videos from this awesome channel. And of course, it's been another 2 months since the last one, but of course we'll be having an Xtreme Stories video every month. Like, we'll have one every month from now on until, of course, next summer, because I'll be at college and be working on getting things done, so I'll be really busy. So sorry that this video took so long to come out. I was just planning it a lot earlier, but I hesitated, so that's why it came out so late. So thank you guys for being patient, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another awesome, amazing video next time.